So here's the deal. I'm going to buy that fancy car from you. Margareta doesn't need it. She's just a regular person. My parents mentioned they wanted a new car, and since I got married to Brandon, he's been acting pretty selfish. He's been eyeing up the nice car my parents gave me, and I've had enough of it. My name's Margareta. I'm 25, and I met Brandon in college. We've been married for 2 years now. Brandon is outgoing and popular. Unlike me, I'm shy and don't have many friends. We started talking more during college classes, then we began studying together. I never thought someone like Brandon would be interested in me, but he surprised me by asking me out. I was really happy and said yes right away. That's how our relationship started. It made sense why I liked Brandon. He was handsome, friendly, and serious about his studies. But for him, things should have been different. He had lots of cute, stylish female friends. Finding another girlfriend wouldn't have been hard for him. Once, I bravely asked him, "Do you really think I'm the right one for you?" He seemed surprised and asked why I was bringing it up. I admitted, I'm not very confident. I wanted to know why he chose me. After thinking for a moment, he said, "I guess it's comfortable being with you." I wasn't satisfied, but before I could say anything, he seemed annoyed and started playing with his phone. Not wanting to argue, I quickly ended the conversation. "Yeah, you're right. Sorry for bringing it up." Even though I still had doubts, our relationship kept going smoothly. Time passed quickly. We finished college, got married, and moved into a condo. I got a job at a regular company while Brandon went off to do more school and research. When I told my mom we were getting married, she was really happy. She said, "That's great news." We were starting to worry. "We thought you'd introduce us to a boyfriend sooner." I felt bad for not telling them about Brandon earlier, but Mom understood. She said I've always been independent, handling things on my own. Knowing Brandon was there for me made her feel better. My parents met in college and still love each other a lot, which I admire. Dad worked hard, climbing up the ladder at a big company. Mom supported him and also pursued her passion for cooking. She became really good at it and even teaches cooking classes now. They respected each other's lives and gave each other space. Growing up with them, I learned to be independent too. I wasn't great at much except studying, so I didn't go to grad school. I wanted to be self-sufficient and start my own life soon. Even though I grew up in a well-off family, I didn't want to rely on them forever. I wanted to have a family of my own, like Mom and Dad. I hope to make them proud by having kids someday. It might sound simple, but for someone like me, it's a big goal. Once we moved in together, Brandon started acting more selfishly. He was a grad student and worked part-time, but he didn't pitch in much for our living costs. I tried bringing it up gently, saying, "Hey, Brandon, it would be really helpful if you could contribute more of your part-time earnings towards our expenses." But he just coldly replied, "I do contribute some, you know. And didn't you say you'd handle the living expenses when we moved in together, Margareta?" Brandon always talked about wanting to be a professor, which is why he went to grad school. I had assured him not to worry about money when we got married, telling him I had a good job. I murmured, "Yeah, I did say that," feeling unsure about what to say next. Brandon sighed heavily. "You wouldn't get it. Being a grad student costs a lot for socializing and stuff. Oh, and by the way, I need money for a research trip. Can you lend me $500? I'll pay you back later." Brandon's financial pressure became more common and our problems got worse. He started spending more nights away from home, leaving me waiting by the phone with cold meals in front of me. When he did come home happy for a change, I was too forgiving. He'd sometimes say things like, "Hey, Margarita, remember you wanted to go somewhere? I have tomorrow off, let's go." He'd bring up outings out of nowhere, or compliment my cooking, making me feel special. Each time he was nice to me, I'd catch a glimpse of the happy married life I wanted, and it made me hesitate. But I knew this wasn't normal. I felt lonely and anxious, but I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I didn't want to upset my parents, who were thrilled about our marriage, but they must have started to notice something wasn't right. When I finally visited my parents after a long time, Dad suggested I stay over and have dinner with them. Mom cooked a big meal to welcome me back. During dinner, Dad mentioned my Aunt Ellen had visited recently and wanted to see me. He said she's always spontaneous like that. Ellen was lively, ambitious, and independent. "I'll reach out to her soon, thanks, Dad." Dad mentioned how much my Aunt Ellen loved me and how she always teased about Brandon stealing me from her, even though she didn't want to get married herself. That's just how she was. Before I met Brandon, Ellen was more like a close friend than an aunt. I could talk to her about anything, even things I couldn't tell my parents. She understood me better than anyone and was always there for me. At first, I was too shy to tell her about Brandon, but I wanted to see her again and show her I was doing okay. A few days after staying with my parents, I met Ellen at a cafe. She was dressed really stylishly, as usual. Ellen checked out my outfit and said gently, Margarita, marriage is just the start of a lifelong journey for a woman. You should always feel confident and attractive, no matter what. Your clothes can make a big difference, so don't forget to take care of yourself. Then she took a sip of her tea gracefully. I totally forgot about fashion lately. I'm sorry for not keeping in touch for so long. I murmured apologetically. Ellen replied, that's typical of you, Margarita. It's good to be honest and serious, but being too timid usually comes from lack of experience. But I was thrilled when I heard you found someone special. I thought, finally, Margarita is taking a step forward. It had been ages since I spent time with someone outside on a day off, and the weather was perfect. We sat on the terrace, basking in the warm sunlight. In that peaceful moment, I felt like I could talk to Ellen about my worries without feeling too down. I had hoped even someone as shy as me could make it work with Brandon at first, but Ellen listened to my whole story without interrupting, just nodding kindly. When I finished, she asked, I suppose you haven't mentioned this to your parents, have you, Margarita? No, I even hesitated to tell you today. I didn't want to admit my weaknesses to anyone. I thought I should be able to handle this on my own, to be truly independent. I know if Mom and Dad found out, they'd want to bring me back home right away, so I want to try to deal with this by myself as much as possible. Ellen respected my decision and didn't push further, but she added, if you ever really need help, let me know first. If my dear Margarita asks for help, I'll be there for you no matter where I am. A month later, Mom called and said, when you have time, could you come over? It's not urgent. Since I had the next day off, I went to see my parents. When I saw a car parked in the driveway, I couldn't contain my excitement. Dad, is this car new? Did you just get it? Dad, can I really take it for a spin? What if I crash it? I teased, feeling excited about the fancy car. Don't worry about that. This card is for you, Margarita. Use it however you like. It'll come in handy, Mom whispered to me. We saw this car in a TV commercial, and you said you liked it, Dad recalled. So it's our gift to you. You've been going through a tough time lately, so we wanted to cheer you up. If things get tough, just drive this and come home anytime, he said with a warm smile. The car Dad got for me was an SUV from a famous foreign brand, and he even arranged a parking spot near my condo. I couldn't believe it, and I laughed in disbelief. Later, when I was driving downtown, I reached into my pocket, found the car key, and pressed the button. The lights flashed in all directions. Just then, I heard a familiar voice calling out from behind. What's with the car? I turned to see Brandon, my husband, who hadn't been home in a while. It felt like we were living separate lives. I was speechless as he looked at the car with a smug expression. Ah, I see. A gift from your parents, right? Every time I faced Brandon, I struggled to find my voice, but I was tired of feeling that way. Brandon, don't you care anymore? Do you even care about me? I managed to say, gathering my courage. Then Brandon said something shocking. Are you just realizing now? Did you really think I loved you all this time? It's ridiculous how hopeful you are. His dry laugh rang in my ears. Something inside me snapped, and I blurted out, louder than usual. Then why did you marry me? Wow, really? You're going to be that cold about it? I couldn't believe what Brandon was saying. So marrying me was just a meal ticket for you, huh? And now you want the car too because it's wasted on me? That's just great. Brandon didn't seem to care about how hurtful his words were. And if you say no, we're getting divorced. Without me, you'll never find another man. So think about it. With those words, Brandon left without a second thought, leaving me feeling angry and heartbroken, my head pounding with a headache. I sat in a driver's seat for a while, trying to calm down. Eventually, I called my Aunt Ellen for advice. A few days later, I agreed to the divorce and moved back in with my parents. They welcomed me with open arms, and life started to feel peaceful again. But that peace was short-lived. One afternoon, Brandon showed up at my parents' house with his parents. They sat down in the living room, and Brandon's father spoke up in a stern tone. We're here to talk about our son's divorce. It's urgent. When drafting the divorce papers, Margareta warned Brandon, "If you don't agree to the divorce, I'll use my parents' connections at the university to ruin your future. It wouldn't be hard to damage the career of a junior registrar if their daughter complains." Brandon truly loved Margareta. Her behavior was too harsh. It's clear she was trying to intimidate him. "We could easily challenge the divorce," Brandon's father said, feeling deceived by Margareta. Behind her plain appearance, she's actually a mean and greedy woman. Poor Brandon. I heard she paid him to stay away. She must have had other men over. We need to go to family court and claim that Brandon was threatened by his wife. But if there's a proper apology, things might change. For example, if Margareta gives up that car she's driving, it might help smooth things over. Brandon and his parents remained silent, just listening to their parents' protests. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and Mom went to answer it. Ellen appeared behind Mom as she came back to the living room. "Sorry I'm late. How's the discussion going?" Brandon's family had met Ellen once at my wedding. "What are you doing here? It's rude to barge in like that. We're busy right now. Outsiders should leave," Brandon's mother objected. No, don't be like that. You've heard about Brandon's divorce, right? How would an outsider like you know about that? I had been informed by my brother earlier. I couldn't miss such an important moment for my dear niece," Ellen said, offering a reassuring glance. "You're probably here to stop the divorce or for money. Can you still say that after seeing this?" Ellen pulled out a stack of documents from her bag, laid them out on the table, and showed them to everyone. "I hired a detective to look into this. It turns out Brandon has been cheating on Margareta with multiple women despite being married. He hardly came home because of it. He took advantage of Margareta's kindness and even asked her for money. That's ridiculous. I was just busy with my research at the university. When I did come home, we ate together and went on trips, right? We were like any other married couple, right, Margareta? Say something." "Brandon, you don't need to defend yourself. We'll handle this. It's not your fault. We understand," his father reassured him. "That's right. These documents from who knows where are surely lies. Our Brandon would never cheat. He's such a kind and outstanding son," his mother protested. "You might be kind to your parents, but that kindness seems to end there. Like father, like son." "Now, Brandon's mother, take a look at these photos," Ellen said, pulling out a picture from the documents. "I recently stayed at a hotel for a business meeting and saw Nicholas there. He was with another woman, looking very cozy. So I had the detective look into Nicholas too. The results were just as I expected. Do you understand now?" Brandon's mother's face went pale as she grabbed the documents and examined them closely. "What is this, Nicholas? How long have you been doing this? It's all lies, isn't it, Veronica? Stop looking. Give me that." Nicholas, looking panicked, tried to snatch the documents, but it was too late. Veronica, distraught, confronted Nicholas. "You've been cheating on me. The car you wanted so badly was for her in these photos, wasn't it?" No matter how hard Nicholas tried to calm her down, Veronica wouldn't listen. The discussion about Brandon's divorce was forgotten as Veronica stormed out of the house, crying, with Nicholas following after her. Left behind, Brandon said, "Hey, wait, what about me?" and followed them out in confusion. The rest of us were left in stunned silence for a while, but Aylin had a satisfied look on her face, winking at me. Later, Aylin told me that Brandon's parents did end up getting divorced. "You won't fall for such a terrible man again. Let's make you more attractive. I'll teach you everything about grooming yourself as a woman." Despite her busy schedule, Ellen visited me often and took me to various places like meals and shopping trips. During that time, I learned a lot from her. A year after the divorce, I made the decision to go to graduate school. I worked hard to improve myself, focusing on my studies. Time passed quickly, and one day, I heard someone call my name at a street intersection. I turned around to see Brandon. "It's been a while. You've changed a lot, haven't you?" At first, I didn't even recognize him. In Brandon's eyes, the woman standing before him was no longer the plain ex-wife he knew, but had transformed into an incredibly beautiful and attractive woman. Meanwhile, Brandon had fallen on hard times due to the scandal of his parents' divorce. It seemed he was no longer attending graduate school. His parents, Nicholas and Veronica, had decided to stop providing him with financial support because of the trouble he caused. He was struggling to afford his tuition and living expenses, far from the carefree life he once enjoyed. The women who used to be interested in him had left him one by one. The former glory he once had vanished in an instant, and now he found himself face to face with his ex-wife, who seemed to be a completely different person. As Brandon was about to suggest catching up, a man approached and asked, "Sorry for the wait. Are you a friend of Margarita's?" It was Leonard, the man I was currently dating. Wow, that guy is really handsome, isn't he? He's so tall. Could he be a model? Commented a group of women nearby, looking at Leonard. He's someone from my past, but it's okay. We're finished talking. Let's go, shall we? Leonard said, taking my hand and briefly acknowledging Brandon. Brandon stood there, stunned, as Leonard led me away by the hand. Without a second thought for Brandon, Leonard and I walked towards the crosswalk, and I didn't look back, keeping my gaze straight ahead as we left.